Discovery Weekly.
Welcome to Discovery Weekly, the bonus show by the podcast Discovery Show, where we put all of our extra discoveries we've made throughout the week. I'm Zach.
I'm Kirk.
And I'm Matt.
I read an amazing article that kind of led me down a little bit of a rabbit hole. But what it is Norway actually pays Sherpas from Nepal to reconstruct their mountain paths. So they have all of these places for locals and tourists to go, but they needed somebody to come in and work on it. And so they hire people from Nepal specifically to do this. And they have built paths and stairways in more than 100 different locations now in Norway. And so Sherpas are originally from the area very near Mount Everest. And it's like become like a different word in America, like Sherpa's just like your guide, type thing. But it is a pretty ancient society that has always been around these mountains and have literally developed genetics that make them even better at this. Literally, they are made for this. They have a gene that they call the super athlete gene that affects the body's production of hemoglobin, and it makes it so your body more efficiently uses oxygen. They are literally genetically better able to handle altitude than nearly anybody else on the planet.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're born, like literally born at a fairly high altitude and live your whole life there. And then your dad's always taking you, hey, let's go up to Everest real quick for the weekend. I got to take these white guys up there. Come with me, son. And that sounds interesting.
I was born in the altitudes. Born.
But yeah, exactly like what you said, where one was a guide in 1953 and became one of the first people to reach the summit of Mount Everest. The youngest Everest climber in the world was age 16 and was a Sherpa. There was basically, they climb Everest like there's like, okay, we're just going to go up the mountain. That's fine. But everybody else, it's like, oh, I might die. There's literally bodies that just get left on Everest. But there's an entire culture that is just like designed for this. And so that is who, sorry, Matt, what were you saying?
I'm kind of fascinated. Okay, so they're really good. They got the hemoglobin.
They got the hemoglobins, yep.
How do they do at low altitudes?
They have too much hemoglobins. No, I have no clue.
I'm very curious about this.
It basically makes them better able to utilize oxygen. So, I mean, yeah, we're affected when we go to anything above literally in the ocean.
Like, are they flying to Florida and being like, oh, this altitude.
This low altitude's messing me up.
Low altitude sickness.
I wonder, I mean, what would it, because like you kind of get like weak and stuff when you're at high altitude. So maybe they're like super powered. Maybe it's like in Dragon Ball Z where they take off their training stuff and then they're just amazing in low altitude.
They're like John Carpenter or whatever.
I was going to say John Carter.
Yeah.
John Carpenter.
John Carpenter. Oh, the horror movie guy who was also a Sherpa.
I don't know that to be true. We'll have to check Wikipedia on that.
Well, it's true.
Anyway, but yeah, so that's a little extra detail because I was curious about Sherpas, but they're known for their strength and capacity to work at high altitudes. They're very skilled in collecting stones from surrounding areas and using those to create the paths. So they can literally go to an area, use what's around them, and create better paths for all this. So in general, a lot of these stones weigh more than their own body weight, and they carry them for miles on their backs up the mountain. And
what
basically,
are these people, ants?
What
the heck?
What?
How much hemoglobin these guys got?
They got so many hemoglobins you wouldn't know what to do with them.
So many hemoglobins.
I didn't even know hemoglobins were a big deal until now.
We're really showing that we have no clue how like medicine works because I don't think we're at all talking about hemoglobins the right way. But
hemoglobins make you really strong.
But they've had people do Sherpas do over 100 different like paths and stairways, and they are helping fight poverty in the Sherpa villages by doing this, because one summer season of work in Norway is 30 years worth of salary in Nepal.
Holy cow.
And so,
holy cow.
Yeah. And basically they live in a social economy, which means they all share. So literally by doing this, by having Sherpas building these paths, they are directly contributing to an entire culture's improvement.
I'm sorry, I just had the thought of them flying to Norway on a plane and then being like, my powers.
My powers. They can still use their powers. But yeah, no, I just thought it was a really cool thing because I just saw this random thing about the Sherpas building trails, and it turned out to be more interesting than that. But it was a cool thing to read about.
No, that is crazy.
They carry rocks that are more than their body weight, and sometimes it's insane.
Up a mountain. Yeah, it is mind blowing what they're doing.
I mean, I've watched strongman competitions, and they pull trucks and stuff.
Trucks
but they're doing it
wheels.
at sea level.
Yeah, they're doing it at the beach.
Stupid
It's always
sea
at
level.
the beach. You ever seen those guys chuck those giant kegs of beer?
Ooh, I wonder.
Really high?
I wonder if somebody trained a Sherpa to be like a strongman if just no one would ever compete ever again. Like the Sherpa would just be the strongest man.
That'd be cool.
That would be so cool. If you get a little guy that looks like Gandhi or something, little skinny guy, and then he just beats these giant dudes pulling trucks and throwing kegs.
It would make me want to watch strongman competition if I knew a Sherpa was involved.
It was on the other day at Applebee's, and I showed my son, and he loved it. I hadn't seen that since I was a kid.
A buddy of mine shot that, shot the actual thing, and he said that they are all stoners, all the strong.
Really?
Yeah.
You would not guess that.
I think it curbs their powers.
It curbs their powers.
I don't know why I'm calling them powers.
I think you should call everything powers from now on.
Yeah.
So I found an article about something it's just so absurd, but it's also great. Have you guys ever heard of Ponyhenge?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that thing?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You been there?
Obviously not. Don't know what a Ponyhenge is.
So in Lincoln, Massachusetts, there is a place that has just an inordinate amount of plastic ponies, and like the rocker kind, the ones that you, when you're a kid, you get on and you rock back and forth. It has like a spring and you're sitting on a plastic pony.
Oh, like a playground pony thing?
Yeah. And it's a field just full of them in a circle. And this is from Atlas Obscura, and the writer Jessica Lee Hester, who writes for Atlas Obscura, just recently moved there. And of course, because she works for Atlas Obscura, she's always trying to find interesting stuff.
She lives in the Ponyhenge?
And she lives like she passes it all the time.
Center.
And so she's like, well, now I have to know what this is. This is exactly what I do for my job. So this is her writing. She says, I wasn't lured here by the ponies, but they captivated me when I arrived. It seemed that whenever I passed their field, something had changed. There were new additions or different configurations, as if the animals had played musical chairs overnight. Once, someone had covered her mouths with surgical masks. As the 2020 election neared, they reared up on their next to signs reading, "We're bucking for Biden," or "Mamalas for Kamala."
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's bad. Mamalas? What? Okay. How did they get there? What did they mean to people? I put my press hat on and I started to ask around, but it turned out it wasn't really a mystery. It wasn't a mystery at all. Almost immediately after I sent an email to the town's email list server asking for leads, someone came forward to fess up. Jimmy Pigeon and his wife, Elizabeth Graver. Jimmy Pigeon, who owned the land and lived nearby, say they turned the first pony loose around 2010. It had belonged to one of their children, and they thought other kids might like to ride it too. Then a neighbor added one, and then others did. Now, Pigeon says, sometimes several arrive in a single day. He says, I love this guy. He seems hilarious. It's a pretty long article, but there's so many quotes by him. He goes, I'm going to give him an accent. They breed profusely, Pigeon says, to keep the population in check, he says, and to put the rattiest looking ones out to pasture. I'm often culling the herd and taking them to the dump. Pigeon says there are two camps of people who find something to like about Ponyhenge. Some people go, I want to see these creepy horse graveyards in Lincoln, or I want to see the cute rocking horses in Lakeland. I said Lakeland, but it's not. That's Lincoln.
I also like that he's a farmer. Didn't you say this is Massachusetts?
It is Massachusetts.
Well, shoot.
Either way, it's often on residents' itineraries or places to bring visitors. Occasionally, it's even a place to exchange marriage vows. Yes, there's a picture of people getting married in Ponyhenge. Oh man, it's very cute and it's interesting. And it's just one of those it's one of those things that it just started out of nowhere, and it's just like the community's built up around it. But one of my favorite quotes and people that have been there is there's this lady that they interview. She's 62 years old, and she is in a trapeze group. Again, 62 years old. She's in a trapeze group.
I want to know more about this lady. How is that possible?
Flying Friends. Fabulous Friday Flying Friends. And each Friday, they share a new little adventure. And just recently, they went to Ponyhenge, all wearing unicorn headbands. And they climbed on the ponies, and they all rode them for like 45 minutes and did yoga poses on them. Oh, it's so great. And also, when I'm 62, I want to be in a trapeze group.
I don't think I could handle that right now.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, I mean, it's a thing, and it's in the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts. It's Ponyhenge.
I had to look up pictures of this because I needed to get a visual, and it's literally just a field filled with ponies. There's nothing around it.
It's like on the side of the road in like a pasture.
So odd. I like that stuff though. I like people just doing weird stuff because they want to. Like, I just want to. I want to put ponies all out in this field.
I do love how they're like, my son's too old for this thing. If I put it in the field, maybe other kids will come by and ride it.
Which
have fun.
That's not a possibility. First of all, like, oh, Timmy, you see that pony in the field? Do you want to go ride it? That is something no parent has ever said to their kid.
Sounds like a trap.
Yeah, it looks like a honey trap for children. That's terrible. You should never let your kid go ride a random pony in a field.
Pennywise the clown loves to hang out over there.
Yeah.
So I had one that I wanted to do, but something you said reminded me of this thing that I learned about when I was in South Carolina, and I was just reading the newspaper because I was doing a stand-up set later and wanted some headline jokes. And I'm not going to preface too much other than say, Ponyhenge, those horses, all the king's horses and all the king's men cannot put Humpty Dumpty together again like a riot. That was a terrible segue because it made no sense, but I digress.
Did you say like a riot?
Yes, because
what are you trying to get from Ponyhenge to Humpty Dumpty, and you thought that was going to lead you to riot somehow?
If you dissect the segue,
okay, let's dissect.
If you dissect the segue, it's clear.
Oh, okay.
I'm delirious
so far,
on no sleep.
By the way, my favorite.
Right? Come on. Mm-hmm. All right. So, what I am going to talk about is the 2014 Keene, New Hampshire Pumpkin Festival. That sounds nice, right?
That does sound nice.
Yeah. So, real quick, the Keene Pumpkin Festival is one of its biggest events, bringing millions of dollars to local and state businesses and upwards of 70,000 attendees, according to some estimates.
That's a big pumpkin festival.
It's big. Attendees bring tens of thousands of pumpkins for the festivities. All right. So it's really lovely. Except
is this where they do the pumpkin chucking?
No, but Pumpkin Chunkin was my follow-up discovery. In case
I
this
thought
one,
you were going to say that was your nickname in high school.
well, it wasn't not. So the Pumpkin Festival's happening in 2014 until violence happens.
Oh God!
Oh no! Oh no!
A quaint pumpkin festival in New Hampshire ended with tear gas, street fires, and at least one flipped car on Saturday as mobs of college students and young people turned parts of the town of Keene into a free-for-all.
Moms of college students. Is that what they said?
Mobs.
I heard
Moms
moms.
of college students. That's even weirder. It's like all these college moms are going crazy.
What is happening?
Soccer moms so bad.
They
They knew it was all the moms because they all had like, my son goes to Boston University. Then no, it was just a bunch of SUVs with that all in there.
And here's a quote from Stephen French, an 18-year-old from Haverhill, Massachusetts. And I'll do a Massachusetts accent here. It's expletive wicked. It's just like a rush. You're revolting from the cops. It's a blast to do things you're not supposed to do.
It's like that little kid that stole his grandma's car. Remember that
Yeah.
one? He's like, I like to do hood rat stuff. I like to do bad things.
So you get so all right. So the police arrested 49 people. Let's see. Again, you know that a car got flipped over. Numerous injuries throughout the day. And get this. This is my favorite part about this whole thing is that there was no reason. There's no reason why it happened.
They just did it.
It just happened. And then there's huge riots all of a sudden. And they just shut it down. They're like, whoa, what happened? They didn't do it for like the next 3 years because something went down at the Pumpkin Festival.
It makes no sense that they still had no idea.
It's crazy. It was just a bunch of college students hanging out, partying, and then they just literally rioted for no reason. And it's literally like everything I've read about it is literally like it just happened and no one knows why.
I mean, I have a guess on why, and it's alcohol.
Listen, I might have to do with the pumpkins.
Pumpkin wine.
It's where the college students get their power.
Their powers.
It's also 100% alcohol. But it's straight up like riot punch, clearly, because every single student that's quoted in this thing is, other than this person, they're like, I am definitely not proud to be a KSC student after seeing this kind of behavior.
This will not be in the alumni newsletter.
Yeah. He's like, they all make fun of me, but now my turn. They're like, shut
Kappa
up,
Alpha Beta is going to kick me out now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know about this riot that should never have been. And
the great pumpkin riot of night of 2014.
I remember when I was in Charleston, I was reading the paper and I saw this headline of it was violence mars the New Hampshire the Keene, New Hampshire Pumpkin Festival. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And the joke there was clearly that the town is run by pumpkins, so they thought it was very violent because of jack-o'-lanterns and whatever. It wasn't a great joke.
I'm
like
lost there too. If we dissect that joke,
yeah. If you dissect that, you'll understand kind of like my kind of witty.
I feel like I'm not smart enough for your humor sometimes.
No, I would definitely flip it around. You're too smart for it.
I don't think I've ever heard me being too smart for anything. So
Hold on. I am going to set up the next one. So good. because it's going to be a good one. I can't wait to swim into this Discovery.
Speaking of swimming into this, have you
My
ever
wife
wanted,
loves swimming.
Have you ever wanted to my wife into a swimsuit? You can on Amazon.
Very
you can
nice.
buy the Go-To Sexy men's Borat Mankini underwear for only $4. It's a steal,
$4?
everybody.
That's amazing.
It is a bargain that cannot be passed up. And when you look at this, you begin to see very odd things, as you'd probably expect, honestly.
Oh, God.
But there's a lot. We could start with the Q&As. Would the XL hold all of above average manhood? You just have to adjust it so your balls don't fall out the sides. Practical advice.
Wait, where does this it says?
What's the difference in X large and regular? XL
I really
is bigger.
I really hate that I clicked on the link that you sent, because now this is my freaking Amazon search history.
You are welcome.
Dang
now your
it.
family will know what to get you for Christmas.
I don't like all of the other recommended products related.
Okay, let's just talk about that right now. It clearly is designed for bachelor parties because you have yacht captain hats and like glasses. There's clearly a sex doll. There is some men's imitation leather underwear, sexy boxer briefs. There is a ball and chain for bachelor party. It's all horrifying. Everything in here.
What I'm seeing in mine is there's an anal douche.
I see that.
Really? Okay. Oh, I didn't see that one. That's you guys' preferences, I guess.
The reindeer one? I love the reindeer one.
Yeah.
No, do you see the generic wiener cleaner soap?
I don't see the generic wiener cleaner soap.
It looks like a soap that is shaped like a donut. I think it's a joke, honestly. But
that's pretty funny.
But yeah, it basically looks like it's for frat bros when one of them's getting married, is what I'm thinking here.
Is that really what? Mine has a douche on it.
What? You don't douche before you get married? But then we can first let me read you the description for everyone, just so you get a good idea of what this is. A free size for choice elastic can be adapted to most of the choices. The fabric is comfortable and soft, suitable for Valentine's Day, swim party, special day, or boudoir fun. Make you more sexy. Enjoy it. So there's that.
Make you more sexy.
If you had any questions, there's that.
Explains a little bit.
There is also multiple user uploaded images that you can check out if you are courageous.
Oh, really?
I'm not clicking that link again. I'm not clicking any more links.
Sorry, I just found a nice related product.
What is it?
It's essentially the same thing, but it's got legs on it.
What? So it's just the top part is like the Borat swimsuit?
Kind of, but it's all mesh.
Oh, that's very nice. Okay, I think one of the best ways to figure out if a product's good or not is you got to look at some good reviews, some bad ones. So a bad one is the banana hammock part was way too small for my boyfriend. Decent quality, but definitely made for men shorter than 6 feet. Skeleton thin and with a quotes small package. Might be great if I bought it for a kid, which that's terrible. That's a terrible thing to say. There's another one that literally got something that's red and it looks like it's like the size of a headband, and they didn't appreciate that. I don't know if this seems fake. Fits like a glove and looks great. Everyone complimented it. Everyone complimenting at the water park. Had 4 girls give me their number last time I wore it there. Never went down the slide so fast before. There's
you
also
go down the slide pretty fast, but it had to be really wet, because if there's any dry spots in that slide, it's just gonna hurt.
It literally saw you in half. Like, I think that it would be a bad idea. And then I think,
could you imagine going down a not water slide with that thing?
I wouldn't recommend it.
They'd have to in one spot. It'd be like a suction cup.
Yeah,
your butt cheeks would just be like a suction cup.
You would just sit on the slide. I don't know. I guess there is I can leave you with a terrible review poem that someone left as the
they
final
left
thing.
A poem.
Yeah,
a haiku.
It's not a haiku, just a normal poem. Love Poem to the Green Machine by Ryan. On the daily, I rise at 6 and loathe for that sweet caress, the one that gets me all the chicks and the one that leaves no stress. I love the green mankini, the one I keep on a hanger in the closet. When I wear it, life becomes oh so dreamy. I shall never be reposit. The firm hold it places on my sack turns me wild with desire. For this mankini has no slack. For this mankini is the most formal of attire. It is at the utmost a sexiness amplifier. So there's that.
I think that's a Shakespearean sonnet.
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
No joke. That's weird.
Sonnet 69.
Sonnet 69 420. All right. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to go order your Borat mankini. It's only $4, everybody.
Mine's
Can't
already
beat
in
that.
the cart.
Yeah, you can't afford not to buy it.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the recommended other items at your own risk. It's wild in there. It's really wild in there.
I clicked on way too many, you guys. My Amazon is going to be so messed up.
My Amazon is tainted forever.
Pun intended.
Ooh.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Goodbye.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.